What makes a leader? Is it the ability to command a tribe through force, or is it a subtler force, one of wisdom, strategy, and survival instincts? 5 million years ago, the first leaders rose among the earliest humans, guiding their people through the harshest of environments. But what can we learn from their ways of leadership, and how do they compare to the leadership models of today? In this epic journey through time, we will explore the traits that defined the first chiefs, contrasting them with modern leadership styles. Join us as we uncover the ancient truths of leadership testing, how far we've truly come in our understanding of power, influence, and survival. The first leaders of our species were not born with crowns or titles. They emerged through necessity, those who could survive and guide others through perilous landscapes. Life in the wilderness required more than just brute strength. It demanded foresight, resourcefulness, and the ability to make decisions that could impact the survival of an entire group. These early leaders were likely chosen not for their physical might, but for their ability to think ahead, to assess the environment, and to lead others through storms, predators, and scarce resources. In contrast, today's leaders often rise through systems of power, education, or inheritance. Modern leadership is measured in titles, organizations, and influence. The power to make decisions may be based on political or economic position, yet it sometimes lacks the primal sense of survival that once defined true leadership. In prehistoric times, the chief was not just a ruler, but a crucial part of the survival strategy. His decisions were life or death. Back in the days of early humans, leadership was an intense hands-on role. The leader might be responsible for making strategic decisions about hunting patterns, where to establish the tribe's shelter, or how to deal with rival groups. These decisions could come down to the smallest details: how to make a weapon, what time of day to move, or when to fight or flee. It was a leadership of immediate action, where every moment was a test of endurance, wit, and collective survival. As humans evolved, leadership began to shift. The hunter-gatherer model was slowly replaced with more complex societal structures. Leaders began to rely on strategies that were less about direct participation in survival and more about governing large groups and influencing through ideas. Leadership became not just about surviving, but about shaping the future of the tribe, nation, or empire. These leaders began to delegate, relying on other specialized roles within society. Modern leadership too often prioritizes delegation and indirect influence, especially in political and corporate environments. But is it as effective in crises as the leadership of our ancient ancestors? While contemporary leaders may hold powerful positions in government or corporations, they may find themselves disconnected from the raw, primal challenges of survival. As the world faces modern crises, from climate change to economic collapse, we may find that the lessons learned by prehistoric leaders are more relevant than ever. The first chiefs undoubtedly had a profound understanding of their environment. Every decision they made directly impacted the survival of their tribe. This form of leadership wasn't about steering a company or leading a nation. It was about leading life itself. The early leaders were masters of instinctual strategy. They knew the land, the animals, and the weather patterns better than any modern CEO or politician might know their business. These leaders were often a blend of warrior and sage, able to fight off predators when necessary, but also capable of guiding their people with wisdom. They led by example, showing courage and grit in the face of adversity. Leadership was personal. If the chief made a mistake, it wasn't simply a failure of policy. It was a failure of survival. In such a harsh environment, no one could afford to follow a leader who couldn't adapt, who couldn't understand the pressing needs of the moment. As societies evolved and human life became more structured, the style of leadership evolved as well. The emergence of agriculture marked the start of larger, more complex settlements. Leadership became more about managing resources, people, and territorial disputes. The modern leader, in contrast to their prehistoric counterpart, often holds a position that doesn't require physical participation in the daily struggle for survival. Their decisions may affect the lives of many, but they are rarely forced to experience the consequences of those decisions firsthand. In contrast, the first chiefs lived and died by their choices. The essence of modern leadership, particularly in political or corporate spheres, revolves around influence, vision, and management. A modern leader may not have to be the strongest or most agile, but they must be able to unite people behind a common cause, delegate tasks, and solve complex problems. However, the disconnection from the land, from the very life or death struggles that shaped the first chiefs, can sometimes make modern leaders less relatable, less grounded in the immediate survival of their people. Contrast that with the direct leadership role seen in prehistoric times. These early chiefs didn't merely make decisions, they lived with those decisions. A good leader's command of the group wasn't based on eloquence or the ability to convince with polished speeches, it was based on the immediate tangible results of their decisions. The success of their people wasn't just an abstract idea. It was something they saw every day, in every hunt, and every shelter. As we look at modern leaders who navigate the world through boardrooms or policy meetings, we may wonder, could they survive in the conditions that our ancient ancestors faced? Would their decision-making hold up in a world where the stakes were literally life or death? The greatest leaders of the prehistoric world were often those who could unite a group not through fear, but through necessity and the shared experience of struggle. Leadership wasn't about titles or power plays, it was about survival and the shared goal of ensuring the continuity of the tribe. The first chiefs didn't have armies of advisors or a host of technologies to assist them. They relied on their senses, their intuition, and their deep connection to the land and their people. In this sense, they were not just leaders, they were true embodiments of the survival spirit, acting as living symbols of what it took to endure, adapt, and thrive in the face of nature's most unforgiving challenges. In comparison, modern leadership often emphasizes strategy over survival. The qualities of leadership today, such as diplomacy, vision, and emotional intelligence, are certainly important. But in the fast-paced, ever-evolving world we live in, can these qualities be relied upon in the face of unexpected crises? Today's leaders are often experts in managing systems and navigating a web of complex relationships. But in a crisis, where physical endurance and immediate actionable decisions are required, how effective are they? Leadership, as the prehistoric chiefs knew, it was about stepping up in the moment, making hard decisions and trusting one's ability to navigate the chaos. Interestingly, modern leaders do occasionally face crises that demand a more primal form of leadership. Consider the current global climate crisis, political upheavals, and the unpredictable nature of technology and warfare. These challenges require leaders who are not just disconnected thinkers, but are attuned to the forces of nature, economics, and the physical world in the same way the early chiefs were. Can modern leaders truly learn from the wisdom of the first chiefs, adapting their leadership styles to balance the intellectual with the instinctual? As we reflect on the early forms of leadership, one thing becomes clear. No matter how advanced we become, no matter how many systems and technologies we create, the core of leadership survival remains unchanged. The first chiefs understood that leadership was about protecting the tribe, adapting to change, and making decisions that ensured the survival of the community. They led with courage and wisdom, deeply rooted in the reality of their world. Today's leaders, for all their sophistication, must never forget this primal truth. At its heart, Leadership is about guiding people through adversity, making tough choices, and ensuring the survival of the collective.